But it's good. So we have nothing in writing from anybody. So it's a bad issue. So. No.
I'm just gonna have a whole plate full of brownies.
Yeah.
Cool. You should come to more meetings.
We have a ceremony.
All right, we'll call the City of Kewaunee Common Council meeting to order for Monday, August 14th. Let the record show, Blaha absent excused, Conley should be arriving shortly. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. All right, item 3 on the agenda, approval of July 10, 2023 Common Council minutes. Does anyone have any additions or corrections?
I'll second.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those approved signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item 4, public comment communications. 3-minute time limit per person. If there's anyone from the public that wishes to speak before the council, please step forward, state your name and your address. Is there anyone that wishes to speak under public comment this evening?
I'm Leah Buchanan Pellet. I live at 718 Main Street in Kewaunee. And I am here to ask help from the council to resolve a problem that has caused damage to several children in our neighborhood. The pavement on the road that is when you come down the hill onto Main Street and to the Summers Park is in really bad shape. And several instances, children coming down the hill on bicycles have skidded and fallen at that point. I fixed broken teeth. My son helped a child who had broken his leg there. And we regularly get skin knees and whatever else, because when the children come down the hill, they can't see that they're reaching a point where the pavement is completely ruined. And it is dangerous because if they try to swerve at that point, they'll come in where cars are coming down that thing. I've dealt with that. I asked my alderperson and she came to determine why we couldn't get that fixed. And the answer was the city doesn't have the money. And I'm here to ask if there's any way we can fix that before we have a dead child instead of an injured child. Is there any more information that?
Just allowing you to speak, and there won't be any action taken at this meeting, but it'll be on the record.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak this evening before the council?
Hello, my name is Carol Petrina and I'm the director at the Kewaunee Public Library, 822 Juneau Street. I'm speaking on the topic of the resolution for the plans of the development of the new senior center. Cindy and Kurt have spoken at our library board meeting, and I have attended various meetings where building a multi-purpose building to house both the senior center and the library has been proposed. We do offer some overlapping services with the senior center, and a multi-purpose building would be an asset to our community. We are trying to do the most that we can with our current facility, but community needs and building standards have changed greatly since 1976. We function as a hub of our community. In May of this year, 2016 people came to the library. In June, 1,634. In July, 1,810. And as of today, 651 for August so far. The library is a well-utilized hub of our community, a community center, if you will. We serve all ages from birth to seniors. What I'm asking for tonight is a seat at the table. I am not asking to slow down any of Cindy's plans. And if the library would someday be built onto a proposed building, I would like that library input be included from the beginning of the project to create an appropriate and well-working design, something that serves all aspects of our community. Our current building is going to need some costly maintenance in the upcoming years. At some point, a decision maybe need to be made on whether or not we would decide to stay there or move to a different building. Some things to consider. Our furnaces, I've been told by two different companies, the HVAC companies, that our furnaces are at their end of life. And so that is something that back in 2018, I put on the CIP as a high priority, and our furnaces are still, down in our basement. Our bathrooms need updating. They currently don't comply with ADA standards. The building wiring is very outdated. Anytime we try to do something with a basement only kind of underneath half of it, the rewiring would be difficult. Our front door is in critical need of replacement, so that is on our soon-to-be CIP process. So we have many different wheelchair and handicap accessibility issues in that building. Meeting and gathering spaces are a high priority in our community at this time. Our one meeting room is simply not enough. We need much needed private study rooms for groups like Literacy Partners and our workforce development people that meet with their clients in the library. A large gathering space is also needed. Our two large events that we held this summer, we held at Holy Rosary Gym. Our back room is simply too small for our crowd. We had 183 at one event and 135 at the other. In closing, I believe a group that represents the city, the library, and the senior center should work together to design a building that meets the needs of both today's community and the community of our future. So combining all of our knowledge and our areas of expertise, I think would result in an optimal building that would best serve everyone in our community. Thank you.
Does anyone else who wishes to speak today in our public comment?
Kurt Johnson, 803 Milwaukee Street. And I'm here representing the Marquette Historic District and to speak in strong support of the resolution authorizing Cindy to go ahead and try and put together a plan to build a community center on the Marquette school site. And I'm going to start by reading a couple of things off the resolution to show how much support there is broadly for this. First of all, when the city applied for the grants to take down the old school, they were asked by the feds and the state, well, what are you going to use the property for when it's taken down? And one of the things they identified as a key need for the city and that could be used there was a senior community center. Secondly, the Historic Preservation Commission, which Jim chairs, identified acceptable uses for that property. And one of those was a community center, a senior community center. Obviously, the community center committee, which Cindy Tang's involved with, is strongly supportive of that school site. And as representative of the Marquette Historic District, we strongly believe that that would be a great location for the senior center. I'd also note, obviously, the city already owns the property. That property has been in the public domain and has been in public use for basically 150 years. In 1914 is when the school that was taken down was built, but before that, there was a large school on the other side of the block, and that was built in 1872. So basically, we have 150 years where that block has been in the public service, and I think it should continue. Now, the other thing to point out is, a community center, a senior center should be in the center of the community, and this is in the center of a neighborhood. It's a great location for it. It would use half the block, and the other half could be available for other uses, such as possibly the construction of a new library or a park. And the building could be designed, alluding to a previous speaker here, to accommodate and a possibility of adding a new library on the other part of the site. So, for example, the great room and the community center and the bathrooms and the kitchen, depending on how you did the connection to what the library needs, could hook up to that, and that would save a lot of cost and footprint for a new library, if at some point a new library was felt to be needed. So essentially, all this resolution does is simply authorize Cindy to put together a proposal, concrete proposal within 9 months. It's not asking you to approve the proposal or anything like that. It's just authorizing her to go get it and try and put something together to bring before you. She has these private resources available. There are not many grant funds available for senior centers. I've checked a lot of stuff, and there's just not much out there. So these private funds to do this, I think should be taken advantage of. The site is available. Obviously, you're going to kill two birds with one stone, a long needed senior center, and you're going to be able to use that Marquette Historic District property, at least half of it, because we've obviously debated what is suitable there, and this clearly seems to be a suitable use. So anyway, I urge you to pass the resolution.
Thanks, sir. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak tonight under public comment? Is there anyone else that wishes to speak under public comment tonight? If not, then public comment is closed. Item 5, boards, commissions, committee and staff reports. Personnel Committee, Public Property Committee, Plan Commission, Finance Committee, Public Works Committee, and staff reports.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6, Mayor's report. I report tonight that Robin Nelson has submitted resignation as a Lighthouse Committee Chair, effective from the time of the letter, which was what, a week ago or thereabouts. So we deeply grateful for all the work and many years. How many years were you on that?
Since 2015, I don't know, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. So we really appreciate that, and we'll have to find someone who can take that position, not necessarily able to replace, but take that position.
Thank you.
So again, thank you very much for your service on the committee. That's all I have on our mayor's report. Item 7, unfinished business. Authorize reallocation of Scott Street connection funding for other purposes.
Yes. Way back when, the city engaged with a contractor, a consulting engineer to prepare a construction plan set for connection of Scott Street between 3rd and 4th Streets, which would have included sewer and water lines, storm sewer, curb gutters, street base and sub base coats. Final plan set, which was to be used for bidding purposes, was delivered to the city in October of 2021 at a cost of approximately $11,000 or thereabouts. The estimated cost for this work was $200,000, which was provided via bank loan to the city in 2021. As of 2022, the budget for this project was $218,000. Subsequent changes in the council membership have prompted discussion about the necessity of this project. In particular, the discussion initially was to construct a connection, then seek reimbursement of adjacent property owners via special assessment. The difficulty of this arrangement was that the need for this project is considered questionable at best. The adjacent property owners have not stated a request for said connection or access to water sewer utilities, which means a special assessment of adjacent property owners could be subject to legal challenge, which has a reasonable chance of being overturned. Councils discussed this in repeated meetings of the Public Works Committee and the Finance Committee. Following direction of the Public Works Committee, staff mailed out requests for response from the adjacent property owners. One failed to respond to all, the other indicated some interest in expansion, though this property improvement would not necessarily require access to a second street or to water or sewer lines that they didn't already have access to. Failure to respond is considered a denial of need. Therefore, Public Works Committee believes this project is not considered necessary and is looking to remove the project from the city's capital improvement fund, with the funding to be reallocated to some other capital improvement purpose. Staff is seeking some guidance on that second part, but this council could take the action at this time to remove the project from the capital improvement fund. Therefore, that's the request, is basically to just delete it from the capital improvement fund. Join.
I did check with Bank of Luxembourg on being able to reallocate those funds. And there are no restrictions, so it's at your will.
I would make a motion to remove Scott Street connection from the capital improvement fund with the dedicated funds to be reallocated with the adoption of the forthcoming CIP and fiscal year 2024 budget.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Jeff Conley.
Aye.
Eric Woznicki.
Aye.
Kathy Brown.
Aye.
John Blaha is absent. Jim Brewster.
Aye.
Wendy Shelton.
Aye.
Janita Zimmerman. Robin Nelson.
Motion carried. Item 8, new business. 8A, discussion of parameters for creation of request for proposals for legal representation to the county circuit court.
Staff is requesting or has had some difficulties, primarily financial, having to deal with the fact that our city attorney operates out of Green Bay. And so anytime we have a court appearance for citation purposes, primarily for citations, requires them to travel out of Green Bay to get here. And every minute that they spend in the car, we get billed for that too. So what we're looking for is a bit of flexibility, both on for our sake and also for the city attorney's office, because if they don't have to spend time coming over here to represent us in circuit court, so much the better. But what we're looking for is some kind of guidance as to what that RFP should take. My thought was take the RFP that we used for the recruitment for the city attorney position and just strip it down and say, this is a position that's intended to be local for representation at the county circuit court for citation based issues, rather than for something where we're formally doing other types of actions. We would rely on the city attorney for that, but we would just simply have somebody there to represent us at the court on various court dates for various citation purposes. And but we're seeking input from council as to what to do with that, and the motion to actually go to RFP.
I would make a motion to authorize staff to prepare an RFP for additional legal representation assistance for court-related work related to civil and criminal citations, or a motion. For the matter.
Creation RFP. Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Any further discussion?
Just one question. I'm guessing that that Tony doesn't have an issue with this.
No, it actually probably simplifies things greatly for him, because now he's not,
I kind of.
you wouldn't have to dedicate time to showing up in court periodically.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 8B, adopt a resolution awarding the sale of $1 million general obligation promissory notes. Justin.
I'm going to turn this one over to Justin Fisher of Baird.
Thank you for having me here tonight. I got good news to share, so let's jump right into it. It's pretty short and sweet since we've gone through this plan numerous times so far. So if you go to page 2, we went out for bid this morning at 10 a.m. and received 3 bids, which I was happy to see. The low bid came in at 3.8344% for the 10-year financing. We've been projecting 4.25%. So I was happy to see that, and actually under the 4, which I was really hopeful to see. So that was great, and you can see the other bids came in right around that as well. So great news on that aspect. If we go to page 3, this is the issue summary. So again, this is general obligation promissory notes. So this is gonna be your most secure type financing that you can do. The amount of $1 million. It's going to close September 1 of 2023. Have maturities March 1, 2025 to 2033. First interest March 1, 2024. Callable March 1, 2031, or any date thereafter. We did not go up for a bond credit rating just because it wasn't economical to do so. Because every time you do that, you have to pay for the bond credit rating, and it just wouldn't have made sense to do it in this case. Again, the interest rate 3.83, and the winning bidder was Bernardi Securities out of Chicago. Because of the lower interest rate that we received, it's going to save the city about $26,000. So that's the perspective from the 4.25 down to 3.8. So that's, that's was awesome to see from that aspect. And then the last page there, this is an update to the financing illustration that you've seen in the past. Again, the left side of the page, that's your existing debt. middle of the page, that's what we're talking about tonight. And then ultimately on the right side of the page is if the city were to borrow about $1 million every year going forward. One thing I do want to note is that recently the valuations for the city came out. And the city saw some nice growth again. Over $40 million in equalized value that the city saw. Probably a lot due to, just valuation of property growth and so forth. But that's great news there because it's going to reduce the potential impact that you're going to see on this debt service in the future. So with that, I welcome any questions. Congratulations.
Keith, did you want to add anything?
No, I think it's pretty much it. We're in good shape here.
Make a motion, we award sale as written.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
So. I just would like to know when we get this $1 million, exactly where is it gonna go?
So that's where we're going simultaneous with the CIP creation. And prioritizing the CIP, correct?
I don't mean like, where are we gonna spend it? Where are we gonna house it?
Oh,
You have options. You could go to your local bank, house it there if they're gonna offer you a competitive interest rate for the investment side of it. There also is the local government investment pool, which I think is earning over 5% right now.
And we have some money there.
Yep, we currently do.
is this able to be leveraged into something that I know at the county level, there were certain funds that we were able to put into and we're actually making more money than we're paying on that money?
Well, that.
What restrictions are there on that?
So there are.
But it is, but it's even more.
There are arbitrage restrictions, but because you're considered a small issuer, meaning that you're gonna be issuing less than $5 million in a calendar year. You have 3 years to spend the money. So you. Ideally, you need to spend this money within 3 years, but you can earn more in the investments than what you're actually paying on this debt right now. For a period of time.
Where do you recommend parking the money so we get the best bang for our buck?
I mean, your local banks is always, a good option if that's what you want to do. But the LGIP is probably where most, I would say a lot of communities park their money because it's liquid. It's gets a good interest rate and so forth.
And do it, I think in the material you gave us, all the money, any earnings would just go right back into that fund. That like we can't spend that somewhere else.
Correct.
Okay.
It's to be used for projects.
Yeah.
or
No, but I'm
interest.
saying like the whatever interest we get. Whatever earnings we get from the investment, if we put it in the LGIP, it can't be like transferred into something else.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It needs to be kind of focused in on these
Mhm.
related projects or. paying down.
What course then are you seeing this taking to make the determination where we're going with the money? I mean, we're just gonna send this back to finance?
You could, I mean,
Your
finance would
recommendation?
make that decision. You could just decide to direct us to put it into LGIP, whatever you want to do.
I mean, if we're gonna get the money, we don't wanna sit on it going nowhere.
Right.
Well, I would never do that.
No, what I'm saying, that's why September 1st is coming right around the corner, so we could make that direction tonight in the motion.
Yeah, you'd simply direct us to put an LGIP and then we could just go ahead and contact them and tell them we're about to get a boost.
I guess I just would like to make a point too, that this is for capital improvements, meaning street improvements, building repairs, infrastructure, things of that nature.
Right.
That's why we are looking at this money. And I just want to make a point.
Would it make sense for us to shop a couple rates from different people and
Well, I think staff can do that between the LG.
So right now, the banks that, I don't know about Bank of Luxembourg, I didn't really get an accurate response out of them. Nicolay Bank here in town is mimicking the LGIP.
Okay.
So, between those, we use those 3 banks, the LGIP, Nicolay Bank, and then Bank of Luxembourg. So, I know those 2 are, Nicolay is, mimicking what the LGIP rates are. So it doesn't really, make a difference as to where we put it that way.
So
I'd be for more like one of the local banks in the community, if it's the same interest rate then?
You just have to make sure it's collateralized.
would we need an amended motion to make that part of the motion?
Do we want to do that right now?
Well, we're getting the money on the 1st of September.
But, I mean, I don't think you guys have to like, make a motion to dictate where the money goes. I think,
No, it just allows staff to,
Oh,
To allow staff to get the best,
Yeah.
get the best rate.
right, not specifying.
okay.
That makes sense.
So,
And we have and we also have the finance meeting on September 5th, so we can.
I mean, that's typically what I do, so I don't know if that's, if you guys want to do it. in
yeah, I
a
think we
motion,
could
but-
direct, but I mean, it has to be spelled out in the motion, is all I'm saying, that we would direct staff to find the best location for that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You want to amend that?
I can amend that to say for staff to shop for the best rate,
Okay,
but the money.
positive, okay. And then Robin, are you seconding that?
I will second.
Okay, any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Conley.
Aye.
Wozdicki.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Blaha is absent. Brewster.
Aye.
Shelton.
Aye.
Zimmerman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it. It's always nice you can bring us good news. 8C, adopt a resolution authorizing preparation of plans for development of a new seniors community center on the former Marquette School site, 317 Durrell.
Okay, each of you has a copy of,
Is Cindy on here?
Yeah, she was.
She was,
I am.
okay.
There she is.
Computer, it's okay?
who do you want to speak?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
Can she?
She seems close.
Ed,
Okay, yes.
We can hear you, not see you though.
Okay, when I have the video on, it locks up, so I've taken the video off.
Okay. What's that?
You can't hear back there, so.
Do you want to turn that volume? Switch
They're
up?
all the way.
The back one is?
They are both on 10.
I can.
Okay. Go ahead, Heath.
okay, you have a draft resolution in front of you today, which was provided, and then I converted format and then edited a little bit. Which basically lists parameters for the operation, for the use of the property for the development of this facility at this location, and it basically authorizes, if you approve it, it authorizes the Cindy as the representative for the Community Center Committee to develop a plan for the construction of a senior/community center on the Marquette School site within 9 months, which would be a deadline of May 14, 2024. Also, as the authorized individual for the Smith Charitable Fund and her authorized associates would have access to the school site at 317 Durrell Street in order to develop the plan. That the city would authorize its employees and our consultants such as Cedar Corporation to be accessible to coordinate review and provide assistance, to authorize consultants working on behalf of Cindy for the preparation of the development plan. And then it includes a portion that references the Community Center Committee, Public Property Committee, Historic Preservation Commission, and Plan Commission to all review and provide approval for the final development plan, with the final approval delegated to the council, since this is your property. And that's essentially the summary of the resolution, which addresses any of the particular issues. Now, if there are any other questions or issues that council members have, we can.
Cindy, did you want to say anything?
No, it's just, I think this is a great way to start. You know, it's been 7 years since the elevator failed. And the Community Center Committee has looked at 20 properties in those 7 years, and they feel that the Marquette property is the best fit for everyone. And so today I'm asking you to pass the resolution, which would allow us to start planning for the facility. And, you know, like Heath said, after a plan exists, then all the committees, including the council, can weigh in on it again. But before I hire, engineers and architects, I think we need to all be on the same page that, this is a good site.
We don't have an actual resolution number on this, so going forward with recommendation or if it's a vote to approve the resolution, how would that be detailed, clarified?
Well, the resolution number theoretically could be assigned after the meeting in sequential order, so whatever the next resolution number be would just simply be added to it and then signed.
So the resolution authorizing preparation of a development plan for a new senior community center to be located on a portion of the former Marquette School property 317 Durrell.
Yep.
Do we have a motion to
I would
approve?
like to make that motion.
We have
second.
a motion and a second. Any? Well, she made the second, so there's discussion.
I would like to make a point as I'm
Sure.
associated with the Smith Charitable Fund. I recuse myself from voting.
Okay.
So with this resolution, I know Cindy and I have talked about this and Carol and I have talked about this with the library. If things were to be pushed forward, and the library board would agree to help in the cost of the architect, and when we get to that point, they would also have a voice into how this would look.
I don't think the city has a problem with that. That would be agreement between the library committee and the trust.
I think
So,
you're asking Cindy for confirmation.
Correct.
yes,
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I
Yes.
do not have a problem working with the library as long as it's clear that they have to pay for their portion. That the Smith Fund isn't paying for the library portion.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Cindy.
Here,
I agree. It's time to move on with that.
Okay, item 8B, authorized payment number 2 and number 3 for 2023 CDBG blight elimination, demolition and grading project, Peters Concrete.
Cedar Corporation as our on-site representative signed off on 2 sets of contractors' applications for payment, which were submitted by Peters Concrete, which is doing the work on those 3 properties that are under the current blight elimination, demolition and grading project. Payment 2 covers the period from April 29 to June 13 in the amount of $18,107.86. Payment number 3 covers from June 14 to July 14 in the amount of $197,219.99. This work includes some demolition work along with staging for final site preparation, which actually should have started again today. The grant expires in September 30 and the project, primarily fill grading and planting, needs to be completed by that date. The grant will cover the cost of these payments under the terms of the original project award. Overall project budget, including change order number 1, is $598,346.55, of which we are at 68.19% of the budget with these 2 payments. This is all being covered under the CDBG grant, so we're playing with house money.
I make a motion to approve payment of the 2 amounts that Keith has cited.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Conley.
Aye.
Wozzicki.
Aye.
Brown. Baha's absent. Brewster.
Aye.
Shelton.
Aye.
Zimmerman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Motion carried. Item 8E, approve changes to sewer utility billing rate based on sewer rate study 2023.
City contracted with Onward Accounting to review the city's sewer rates against expenses and determine if the city's rates meet the operational and maintenance needs of the city sewer utility. Resulting study is incorporated with your package. Study was authorized following review and adjustment of the city's water utility rates, which were approved by the Wisconsin Public Service Commission. This rate study, the current one, does not require review by the PSC, though the DNR does provide guidance for rates, but is not required to review this study. Study finds that there were 2 issues to resolve. First one being that sewer rates should increase by an additional 3% to account for expenses increased expense increases over the next 5 years to maintain cash balances as required by previous grant awards. And two, the service charges currently do not account for the size of the meter, which subsidizes the sewage treatment of larger meters. The study recommends both an increase in rates by 3% and that the service charges change to a differential based on the size of the meter. Staff notes that the differential cost for meter size only increases the charges for a total of 80 customers out of a total of 1,260. And it would change the proposed volume rate based on the amount of gallons with a user charge factor that increases per each meter size. Most residential meters are 5/8 inch, then it goes up on a user factor for 1, 1.5 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, and 6 inch. So this would only apply to that rate change would for the user factor would only apply to 80 customers. So.
Okay,
I would make a motion to increase the sewer rate by 3% starting in January 2024. And to establish a differential rate for sewer charges by establishing a user rate factor as specified in the sewer rate study 2023.
we have a second.
I'll make a second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 8F, authorize increase in pay for city administrator based on personnel committee and finance committee recommendations. Wendy, do you want to put some words around that?
Well, the personnel, it started, I'm on the personnel committee and the finance committee, so personnel reviewed the reviews, and they were positive and moved it up to and voted to make a 3% raise for Heath's salary. And he, in his contract, it says that he was due a review in February of 2023. And so we have.
You can put some words around that, obviously, too, so.
And so we voted to make 3% raise from February until to kind of back pay him for the raise. Because we were a little bit late in getting the review. Finance committee talked about the 3%, it's about $3,042. And we have available fund balance, and that's where we suggested that the funds come from.
Jim, if you'd like to go.
Yep, I can. So the original contract had stated that Heath was supposed to get a review after 6 months from the start date. That did not take place, unfortunately. One of the things that the personnel committee did was to start to review the handbook to identify all the areas that we needed to make improvements. And one of them was around making sure that all the performance reviews were being conducted across all of the departments and all of these city employees. So unfortunately, during that time period, we did not get Heath's performance review done timely. We did put in place a new process where we asked feedback from half of the council members, as well as a number of different city employees, department heads mostly, to get feedback on Heath. That was all taken into consideration. Mayor and myself put together the review of Heath and did give him his performance review, a satisfactory review. And with that, we brought in front of the personnel committee the recommendation to give Heath a 3% raise, similar to what all the other city employees got at the beginning of this year.
Now, we were, I thought, going to have some of that information available. And I guess if we could pass some of that
I
around.
do have the,
Right now.
Well, I didn't know how this was gonna roll into the agenda,
so
but
this is the actual.
it was not gonna be handed out prior to the meeting because this
The
is
confidential.
confidential information.
I understand
Yeah.
that, but now we're in the middle and we're wanting to vote on something that hasn't been reviewed. And basically, this is his contract stating that he was supposed to have a review in 6 months.
That's the first page, first document. Second document is the review that was conducted in my notes. Third document is the actual document that Heath will be signing, which is the old format that's required based on the current handbook.
So this just has what you compiled from everyone else
Yep,
into
and then
one.
if you look at, you can see the feedback. Information, that, not that one, that's another copy of the original form. And then the rest are the individual feedbacks for this. And then I've actually highlighted our specific notes that I took from all of them.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say, because obviously this is open, so my concern is we have to treat this completely fairly for all department heads. We have others that have not had their reviews either.
Correct. And that is going to be discussed at the meeting tomorrow.
And
Is the remaining, my understanding, 2 individuals who still have not had their reviews.
I do believe there's 3 that I'm aware of. And out of those 3, does everyone get a 6 months increase? And this
That's-
we're doing because why?
That was agreed upon as hiring.
Yeah.
It says you're going to review him in his contract in 6 months. It doesn't say that you're increasing his pay. You're reviewing him, telling him he's doing a good job. He's on the right track. Doesn't say we're giving him money. We're not committed to that at all. And that was my stance from before. I'm like, he's doing a great job. He isn't doing a great job. Is he? Isn't he? I don't know. I didn't get to read any of it. My fault. I wasn't at the meeting, but I just feel like everyone should be treated fairly in all of the departments, and that's not happening if we're not doing it for everyone. So we did not commit to an increase at 6 months. Not from what I can read in the contract. Review, yes, increase, no. And I thought we increased and gave him his salary for what he is getting, because we were wanting him in here, we went higher.
But you did not get a cost or a salary increase at the beginning of the year, correct? That's what it is. He did not get the bump that the rest of the employees got at the first of the year.
And his hire date was when?
August.
Okay, so he was here not even a half a year, 5 months. And that 1 year, out 5
It would have been
months.
6 months.
We
That's why it
discussed
was
that.
prorated to February, not the first of the year. It was going to, what, February?
Well, I'm just voicing my
First 6
opinion that I don't
months.
think
That's
that's the way it should be.
That's where it came from, because he did not get the annual increase that the rest of the employees did get.
I just feel like there's room for improvement. So,
There's always room for improvement. And I think the process in regards to the reviews and everything, Jim put a lot of time in on that. And, you know, it came a long way from where it was. I think it was a great process that we need to continue and do it, like you said, evenly across the board. Jim?
I'd like to make a motion to authorize an increase of pay for the city administrator based on the committee recommendations, which are 3% backdated to February 1st, 2023.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Conley.
Aye.
Wozdicki.
Aye.
Brown. Nah. Blah is absent. Brewster.
Aye.
Shelton. Zimmerman. Nelson.
Motion carried. 8G, consider an act on temporary Class B retailer's license for Lakeshore Community Center, 96 Ellis Street Smokin' Art Fest to be held on September 2nd, 2023.
I make a motion, we accept this.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 8H, financial reports month ending June 2023.
They've been reviewed.
Right. 9, closed session. 9A, status of Kewaunee Police Department, a common council may enter in a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Section 19.851F, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary considerations of specific personnel problems or the investigation of charges against persons except where paragraph B applies, which if discussed in public would likely have substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations, and to re-enter open session at the same place thereafter to act on such matters discussed therein as deemed appropriate.
Make a motion. I'll second it.
Call for that, right? Please call roll.
Conley.
Aye.
Wozdicki.
Aye.
Brown. Blaha's absent. Brewster. Shelton. Zimmerman. Nelson.
Motion carried.
Can we have a 5-minute
Let's
recess?
take a 5-minute recess. You're gonna-
I'd like to look at that afterwards. I was gonna hold this whole thing up in the middle.
Just wait.
I'm sure you-